Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and something I wanted to talk about for a few minutes today. This is something that came up, I've had discussions with. I had several private discussions with subscribers and other people I know after the videos I made yesterday of people were saying, hey, what's up with you in the whey protein? Why are you flip-flopping on the vegan thing? And I think people haven't followed the history of this channel. I said back in August, and I'll link the video down below. I said in August I was dropping the vegan tag because the way the vegan community looks at things and the way that many of them behave just kind of pisses me off, and I didn't want to be associated with it. And that I was just going to say that I follow a plant-based diet. I was dropping the vegan tag. That was this summer. This is already December. So that's not a flip-flop. That happened months ago. Now, that being said, one of the issues I do have with veganism comes to the point of the whey protein as far as pragmatism and actual having a real world benefit. A lot of people who go into veganism for the same reason that people join a religion. They want some sort of weird ideal rules that don't mean shit in the real world. They're not going to improve anything. I am personally focused on, instead of ideals, I don't care about ideals. I don't give a fuck about being a good person. I care about the amount of harm that I cause, or the amount of harm that other people cause overall with their actions, and trying to find viable, pragmatic solutions to those in the real world to reduce the amount of harm all of us cause. And that includes animal harm. Now, what I mean by that is an example. Let's go over and look at the biggest argument that is oftentimes made back towards vegans and vegetarians by the meat industry, by people who are against vegetarianism. When you guys say, well, we don't want to kill animals, and they point out that you eating plants, agriculture itself kills billions of animals. All of these mice and rabbits and everything, when we harvest crops, even organically grown crops, kills billions of them. And the proper counter argument is that, yes, I am aware that me existing and living is going to have to result in the death of animals on some level. But can we reduce the amount of harm caused? Can we cut the number down for me as a person or for us as a society? And so when we say something like, well, getting people to eat less meat is a step in that direction, because obviously we know that it takes far, far more crops to feed the livestock of the world right now than the amount of crops that the whole human race eats. So the largest chunk of that killing of the animals in agriculture is going to the meat and dairy industry. The math is there. We know it hands down because they eat most of the crops, and then only a small percentage of the world population eats the meat. So that's where it goes. And if people cut their meat back, it would cut down on that. And that's why I've always said that, look, I don't tell people they should be completely vegetarian if they don't want to. I've supported initiatives like the Meatless Monday for the reason of, if everyone in the West went vegetarian one day a week, didn't eat meat, the amount of animal suffering that would go down would be massive. It would be massive, and that's a step in the right direction. Even if the whole world doesn't go vegetarian, really most of us agree the biggest negative out there, the worst harm to animals across the world, is factory farming. It's the most brutal, horrific, torturous nightmare for them that exists. And it kills billions of animals every year. Factory farming and the conditions around it. If you don't need the entire West to go vegetarian to remove factory farming. If meat consumption was reduced 50%, every person out there ate half the meat they do right now. That's it. That's the only change they made. It would change the supply and demand so much that removing factory farming would become economically sustainable, even if people wanted to continue to eat meat. That alone would not only cut the amount of animals being killed in half, but the ones that are being killed wouldn't be tortured for their whole life on their way to the slaughterhouse. That's a step in the right direction. It's about harm prevention, or harm reduction at the very least. If we can't prevent it, let's reduce it. Now, when it comes to this issue of the whey protein, and this is something I thought about long and hard, discussed with other people. It wasn't something that I came to lightly. I put a lot of thought into it. From the same chain of logic of harm reduction, not consuming whey protein, even if everyone goes off of it, doesn't affect the end result. You're going back to, oh, I'm standing on ideals if I'm not going to eat any animal products, instead of saying, is my action going to save one animal anywhere in the world? And in the case of the whey protein, no. Someone who chooses to drink whey protein versus someone who doesn't is not going to save the life of one single animal. It has no benefit. It's an ideal with no effect in the real world for you. It doesn't do anything. And the reason is that it's not a profit incentive for those industries. The whey protein is going to exist whether you choose to drink it or not, whether anybody chooses to drink it or not. When I mean it's a waste product, it's not even a waste product of the milk industry. It's way down the chain where it's created. And it's a leftover product of the cheese industry. The milk manufacturers aren't even selling the whey. They're not the ones who sell the whey. They sell milk. The cheese industry, which is massive around the world, cheese is loved in tons of countries all across the world. Not just the West, even Russians love cheese. They produce massive amounts of it. Whey is a waste product of manufacturing cheese. That's where all of it's come from. It is going to be there and just be dumped in the sewers if nobody consumes it. It's going to exist as long as a cheese industry exists. You're not even supporting the milk industry because they're not making a single damn penny off of it. They're not the ones who produce the whey. It's a waste product of another industry further down the chain. So you're not even supporting them with it. So this whole idea that in not consuming the whey purely based upon an ethical stance, it has no effect in the real world because the whey is going to be produced in the same amounts that is produced right now, whether anyone around the world drinks a protein shake or not. Or if everyone quits, it's not going to affect it. It's not going to save one baby calf, not one. Hence why I don't have an ethical issue there. Whereas, and someone has used the example of, well, veal calves are a side product of them. Yeah, but the veal calf, if you eat the veal calf, you had to subject another animal that existed already. The living animal is a byproduct of the dairy industry. The fact that you torture it in a box and then kill it and eat it while it's still a baby is a secondary moral consideration. The waste product could have been a viable, happy animal. People have chosen to take it to something that's considered cruel by even many meat eaters. Many people who are carnivores and meat eaters will not eat veal due to the cruelty around that separate industry, the veal industry. So that's a separate argument. So hopefully that clarified that, guys, and hopefully that lets people know that this isn't a flip-flop. It's something I thought about long and hard. I quit using the term vegan this summer for myself. All right, so I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Bicepius.